Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. I'm Denise, and this is your astrology reading for the week of October 2nd through the 8th. Mercury's going direct early Sunday morning on the 2nd, and then Saturday, Pluto goes direct. So that should be good, that should be helpful. And then of course we're in the lead up to the Aries full moon, which won't happen until, the next Sunday. But if you're feeling like a lead up to a release, or emotions are getting full, or you're holding more water, those are all signs of like the full moon's coming. happens every month. So anyway, let me bring the camera down over my table and I'll show you these charts. It's looking like a good week. Hold on. Okay, so as of, where's my chopstick? As of 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, things should get better with Mercury going direct. Now we're not out of the shadow, if that's really a thing. I'm still experimenting, or observing that to see if it's a real thing. But with Mercury retrograde, it's hard for me to tell because I, like a third of the population, was born with Mercury retrograde, and it's not really a challenge for me. It's the rest of the time. Getting my communication clear can sometimes be tricky. You leave words out, forget to say things, forget to follow through with your train of thought, things like that. That's a normal Mercury retrograde person. Because your mind is going inward at the same time, or sometimes just going globally outward, like me, because I have Mercury conjunct Uranus, and that will tend to take me out too fast, too quick, too far. And stop. I need to stop and say, more words right here, right now, about this thing right now. So, that being said, when Mercury goes direct, we should have an easier time understanding each other, an easier time communicating to each other, an easier time with any type of, written documents. So it doesn't matter whether it's text, email, your voice, vocally, anything on social media, all those things should go better. All forms of communications should go better. And, sometimes too, when Mercury finally does go direct, something positive can just kind of quickly break through because you've put a lot of effort into whatever it was during Mercury retrograde, right? That 3.5 weeks could be very beneficial for getting really clear on something or finishing something that you started. And now you can move forward. And it especially affects anybody ruled, so all Geminis and all Virgos tend to feel better when Mercury goes direct. And that's, early this morning, while most everyone's sleeping, but some people are up. Some people are up really early, or they stay up late. But anyway, so I wanted to show you this chart just to look at most of the aspects will stay the same. But with this exact time, this 2 a.m., 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, the moon's just inched into Capricorn. It's been about almost an hour, but the moon is making a square over here to Venus that will shift. So I have the 6 a.m. chart underneath this one, and I noticed that the T-square, the moon T-squaring Jupiter and Venus is not there. So the reason I wanted to show you this chart, and of course I always get these videos uploaded early, is to really pay attention to your dream time, because you may wake up with a dream that gives you some good information about a relationship issue or a money issue, because Venus rules money and relationship. Venus rules Taurus, money, and relationship, Libra. And with the square, with the moon up there in the tension field, on the T-square, between Venus and Jupiter. So Jupiter's all about expansion, and the moon the moon in Capricorn, no less. It's kind of like, let's put a Saturn, let's say Saturn moon right here. We might as well, because Saturn rules Capricorn. The square to Jupiter can give you some dreamtime guidance about, maybe this money thing I've been thinking about, or maybe this thing I've been thinking about buying, and I was waiting until Mercury goes direct. That maybe you get some guidance in dreamtime to go in a different direction, to purchase the thing somewhere else, or maybe it's a relationship issue and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to rethink this. Maybe I'm going to slow down and I'm going to wait, because Capricorn's all about waiting until we get it, get it surely, till the decision is for sure the right one for you. And of course, we know that Libra is all about making decisions that keep your life balanced. And with the Sun conjunct Venus, that's on the table all day. So the moon also has this sesquisquare here to Uranus. So, if this were a natal chart, it could be, this person's a little stubborn about, branching out. But then again, maybe, like I said, because the moon can rule dreamtime, it can also rule the public. It could be that we wake up early in the morning to some news about somebody someone in the public, the public eye, and something has come out about a relationship or the way they've spent money. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I'll just keep going on. But now for just us in the middle of the night, this won't really make much of a difference. But 6 a.m., you can see the moon is still in that square position, but it's not going to last long. So actually, this is in effect all morning. I shouldn't have said that won't be there, but I wanted to show when it probably started at about 1 a.m. Yeah. So anyway, moving forward for the whole day. So we do have the moon in that square, and so we do. I mean, there's a huge tension field going on this morning. Of course, with our Saturn square, so I'll go ahead and draw these in because it is important. We have a double square here between the North Node and Saturn and the South Node, right? And Uranus in the opposition between the South Node. Yeah. This has been going on for months and months and months. Saturn will go out of orb. Hold on one second. Oh, that was a good sneeze. Anyway, Saturn will go out of orb to the South Node just a little bit, so you'll see later on in the week where this square isn't here, but it's within my program, it will go out of orb, but it's still there. And it stays here until November 16th, okay? And the retrograde here will end October 23rd, so, that week before Halloween, but it's still going to be squaring the nodes. And remember, just to name what this is so that we don't forget, this is us being able to see how politicians and other government authorities have abused their power over women's freedom. We have sex scandals here, money scandals here, women's reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, the individual rights of any human being. And then this, and I mean here, they're trying to take away, if you vote GOP, you're voting to take away Social Security and Medicare. So the square from Jupiter, because here's Aries, all about individual rights. in the square up to the Capricorn moon, it's right there in full display because Saturn rules Capricorn. The moon is, it can be the moods of what's going through the ethers. You know, the moon attaches to things. It connects things together. It responds to what's going on, and it's also our emotional responses. So I am expecting things to happen all week long. This because with Mercury retrograde going direct, so we still have that square. We have a T-square here. We have a T-square here. And then we have Mars squaring Mercury direct or retrograde. It's still, you know, that's happening. So what does all this mean? Well, without even looking at this opposition here, which I'll do it the next day so that it's not too much all at once. All of this translates. If we break it down, all of it pretty much translates to the same message, is that we don't want, we as a people, as women, the moon rules the feminine too, but there's the divine masculine and feminine within everyone. We do not want to see, we want justice and fairness, and we believe in equality, right, with the Sun conjunct Venus in Libra. And Venus is directly opposing Jupiter here, right? So Venus is everything feminine as well. It's like let's put the Empress card here. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is in Gemini. We're gathering more information. More information is coming out. Information warfare is coming out. The lies are coming out with Mercury square Mars. With Venus opposing Jupiter, we are standing up and saying, we don't believe in the crap that you guys are dishing out, basically, right? Ted Cruz, all of them, just talking baloney. And then here we've just gone through, I have nothing to complain about, but it is painful for me to see the things that are happening, with the weather, the flood. My goodness. Hurricanes. To see the destruction of hurricanes and what that does to a person's lives, a person's life in the lives of their loved ones. And it's an awful thing. And that is, of course, these are the things you don't want to talk about before they happen, because you don't want to put it out there, because people can go into fear, and then we all can make it happen. But it happened without us doing it, without me saying a damn thing about it. Neptune opposing Mercury right here. Neptune rules water. Mercury is the messenger, right? And here we are with this conflict about global warming, about creating safety here with Uranus and Taurus for people to be safe. Because if we're not safe, it's hard. It's very, very, very hard to stabilize, because it keeps you in a constant state of crisis. So with the South Node in Scorpio, we're all learning that we can't move forward and we can't stabilize and grow, which is what Taurus wants to do, if we're always in crisis mode, putting out fires or dealing with floods or dealing with hurricanes. And the only way to work with this situation, now bring in Jupiter and Aries, is to start thinking in new ways as to global warming, climate change. It's been out there forever. I knew it was a problem before Al Gore even started with his Inconvenient Truth movie. That was a huge movement that happened in, 2006, I think? 6 or 7, somewhere in there. But But, I mean, I was recycling years before that. So, and that's just one little thing. But we all have to do our part. And the best we can do, looking at this Saturn, so Saturn is the daily things that our daily actions that affect physical reality, that we're trying to master for humanity because it's in Aquarius. Thinking outside the box for new ways, for new social laws, new societal ways of living. And trining Mars in Gemini, getting information, thinking about that. And then Mercury's over here in this trine to Uranus. And you have to include the South Node because it's only 5 degrees apart, and it's a strong energy because these are big outer planets, So, yeah. And then if that's not enough, look at this. We have Pluto trining Mercury. So Pluto in Capricorn is Pluto transiting in retrograde, no less. We now only have 5 planets retrograde rather than the 6, but Chiron's in there. And by the time we get to the full moon, the moon's going to be over here on the other side of Chiron, and that is going to be one heck of a full moon for healing. Now, sometimes healing happens when things are exposed, or often it happens during times when there is exposure. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't always there and we didn't always feel it, right? Feel the buildup. And sorry if I'm going too quickly, but I'm trying to make a complete, cohesive point here. The moon in the semi-square there to Saturn, and then to the semi-square to Jupiter, and then the semi-square here to Uranus. All of these points together bring in the big picture here is that the moon in Capricorn is trying to help us wake up to what we're creating. The messages are coming in. What are the people in positions of power, let's say politicians and any other government authority, the ones that have so Congress, right, legislatures, all people that legislate, who can write laws and help us get them passed or whatever, are they working for the people, or are they working to oppress the people and basically just make money, right? I mean, it's really simple. It's really easy to look up and see how many times a politician voted against something because it went against the money that they could bring in from a lobbyist, right? And they think they know better than you what's good for you. And if you let them get away with that, then we just are, we're enabling them. So it's time to vote these people out. And the Chiron inconjunct, the Chiron quincunx, I should say, to the South Node is the perfect thing to know for the day is to look to the back, look back to the past to see money that was taken or people that were oppressed. Because this configuration politically says that they care more about their money than they do about you, that you don't matter to them. Their money matters to them. And so we need to make that adjustment in our consciousness and start thinking that way when we vote. We can no longer vote. If you used to be straight, vote straight Republican on all the ticket, that's not happening anymore because people are seeing what they've done. So all of this information has come out. It's coming out more and more and more. It's not going to go well for them. Rovember is going to be a real thing. But we can't sit back and let anybody do it for us, because if we do that, then our pure intention for creating our own reality is not going out into the universe. We have to vote. no matter how hard or inconvenient it is. We have to vote. So let me keep going. I'll go to the next chart, because that's the main thing with that Capricorn moon for Sunday. So Sunday is I feel like it's a huge breakthrough day. Getting clear on even who. So basically, bottom line, with the Mercury to Neptune aspect, that confrontation there can be a breakthrough in seeing who has voted for climate change and who has been, or climate change actions, to prevent more deaths, or who, because they're literally voting against your life survival, right? Jupiter, Aries, Chiron, Aries, survival. Uranus, Taurus, survival, self-preservation. You're here and you have a body and you need safety. And if people in the past have voted for their pocketbooks over your safety, they need to be voted out, because that is not in integrity for their, the position of power that they're in. So a confrontation with that. I think Sunday, I think the news is going to be, I'm hoping that by then the hurricane is completely abated enough, and now it's cleanup time, but it's also exposure time, right? Like, who has voted against safety, climate change safety? Who has said that money was more important, with their actions and their votes, rather than trying to protect everyone? It's like living down on the beach, and the city, whoever, whatever beach city it is, won't put in a damn seawall to keep your apartment building from being crushed, right? Now, of course, you've seen all those seawalls go up and measures taken and all that work that's done. But imagine if you wouldn't. Imagine if you didn't. Imagine if they would not have done that. That's exactly what's happening when they vote. They vote for the oil companies and against your safety. So, and think of all the creatures. I mean, just all the oil spills, the karma, right? BP, karma. So, okay, so I'll move forward because a lot of these aspects are still the same. Now, the tension's off the moon there, or the moon is, the moon is giving us a breather. But I still want to focus in here on, so Neptune, water, gas, right? So here we're talking the, hurricanes and gas oil companies and the delusion, the subterfuge, the hiding, hiding the money, whatever. There's still that opposition here to Mercury. But look at the square here to Mars. And notice how Mars is in this T-square. That's the thing I really want to focus in on. Now, mind you, all the other squares are still there. That tension field is still there that I was talking about before. That's not going away. This conglomeration here, configuration, is not going away until, I don't even know if it'll totally be gone, before Thanksgiving, because we still have to get out of those shadows. But we're seeing what the politicians are doing or not doing. This is actions or lack of. But focusing in here with Mars, Mars brings us the information. We can always go to opensecrets.org. Anyone can go to opensecrets.org and see how people have spent, how politicians, I should say, have collected money from lobbyists and how much they've collected. And yeah, basically that and more. And then I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I think it's Ballotpedia where you can go and see how any politician has voted on the floor, or you can be a C-SPAN junkie like me and just watch everything that's voted on. Some of it is just so boring as you know what, but you get to see how people vote. You get to see where their intentions are, and you get to see who doesn't show up. Well, you don't get to see who they are unless they name it, and they often don't, but you get to see the numbers of the people who care and who are working. And I'm telling you, they're Democratic. They are not Republican. They're not. It is not the same party. So, yeah. So Chiron is still in that quincunx to the south node. All of those aspects are still the same. Mars in Gemini will bring out more information. It will also bring out information warfare, where people are outright lying. Politicians are outright lying. QAnon people are lying. They're just friggin' knuckin' futs is what they are. They're just crazy. And, you know, they want JFK Jr. to come back. So, with Mars in the square to Mercury, the details of the craziness is going to come out. And Mars is going to go retrograde by the end of the month, too. Right before Halloween, October 30th, Mars goes retrograde. And it'll stay retrograde until, I think it's about the second week in January, if I remember right. So let's just say mid-January. I'll get more details on that later. But, yeah. So craziness, here we go. In the worst case scenario, crazy thinking, mental illness, we're not safe until we have gun control. We're not safe when they're taking away our reproductive rights. We're not safe when we can't make decisions over our own bodies and our own ability to create happiness and prosperity in our lives. And Mars in Gemini will be gathering all that information. It's a period of, sometimes kicking ass and taking names. At the least, it is a lot of information being released, gathered, and released outward that can blow the cover, right? Now, if you're a dark, dirty politician, or let's say, I don't know, someone in the Federalist Society, or someone who just really loves oil, who really loves OPEC and big oil, and because of the money, and they think that this is all there is, and maybe they even like the way a vehicle smells when gas is coming out of the exhaust pipe. It's disgusting, but hey, you want to go suck those fumes? Go ahead. There is the ability to try and create even more subterfuge with this configuration here, but it will be exposed. So the hiding won't work. It will be exposed, but this week just might be when we will see them try and hide what they've done even more. And that's another law that needs to be created, is that Congress people, representatives and Senate, the politicians, if they are serving us, they should not be allowed to buy stocks. They need to stay out of the stock market. Otherwise, it's a conflict of interest. So I think on the public sphere, this is what we're going to be seeing. Personally, all of this for us personally means we can contact, Mercury brings messages, detailed messages. We can contact spirit, source energy for artistic means, for compassionate means, for devoting ourselves to the greater good of the whole, and we can all come together. Now there's a tension field, which means this could mean too much energy, and sometimes spinning. Mars in Gemini can sometimes spin, as well as Mercury in Virgo. Either one of these two planets can spin, but Mars gives it lots more oomph to spin. So be careful about gathering too much information that's not simple. And giving yourself those times out, or those timeouts, those times where you can stop and integrate, because that's what's needed here to get to the simple truth, so that your mind is not going crazy. Okay, so let's look at the moon. It's in a nice trine. The moon and Pluto are both trining Mercury. So, and the moon, of course, is inching closer and closer, hour by hour, towards Pluto. So there's some powerful flow of energy between the way we communicate, the way we gather, the way we use the information that we've been gathering, and then Saturn, with this trine to Mars, can't draw a straight line there. Saturn in that trine to Mars can bring in the energy you need to, really wanting to get the information so that you can create some solid structure that is finally more free. Put you in a place of being free. Like maybe you're thinking of ways to create passive income. Like maybe you've been working on writing a book and you're like, I need to get this done, right? This is the perfect energy for it. This is great for any artistic projects. And the moon, you can see, is in an exact, see, it's 17 degrees there, and Uranus is at 18. So within, just can't do the straight line today. Maybe it's, maybe there's something wrong with this. No, it's me. Yeah, let's blame it on the marker. So anyway, the moon and Pluto, so this is powerful for intuitive work, powerful for manifesting work, powerful for getting things done because you really want them done. And over to Uranus, so the moon with the trine to Uranus, and it's gathering the steam of, powerful Pluto there, also brings in a way to break through. So between Saturn and Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus, there's breakthrough energy here, but something that's not hard. It's nice. It's a nice, easy flow. So make sure that you give yourself all the time you need for meditation, for visualization, and taking lots of notes in meditation. Just sit down with your guides, with your guardian angels, with whomever your spiritual team is, and ask for what you want. Always connect with only the highest levels of love and light, and then ask for what you want. What information do you want? Ask, right? And it should come through. And be courageous. Have the courage to ask for what you want, because they love to help you. And then we can also see that there's a square, and this happened earlier. Like, see how the moon's at 17? So really early in the morning, this would have been an exact square here over to Chiron. So there's a bit of a tension field there between the moon. It's not to Pluto, but it's to Chiron. It'll wane as the moon moves towards Pluto. But now there's a connection there for a reason. Well, what would that reason be? Because all these movements in the heavens are for a reason. Everything that happens in the universe is for a reason to help us. I don't believe anything is random. I believe everything has to do with intention. We just haven't owned our power in that yet. Because our attitudes create, our thoughts create, right? Thoughts, feelings, attitudes are very powerful. Our belief system is hugely powerful. So Jupiter's here in Aries helping us get inside of a new belief system, and opposing Venus, new belief system that has to do with loving relationships and whatever money you're trying to put together or trying to bring together and create. But with Chiron, back to where I started, with Chiron squaring the moon, this is a perfect time for getting in touch with any false beliefs that you received from your parents about survival fears, getting out of survival and getting into thriving in a new way than you ever had before, not feeling guilty about it. No more of the, we walked in the snow backwards both ways to school. We didn't have a bus, things like that. Yes, maybe that was, well, of course that's a huge exaggeration. You don't walk in the snow. You don't walk uphill in the snow both ways. It just doesn't, one way home or there is going to be downhill. But you can see where they're coming from. And so don't let anybody's old reality, old history, become your future creation, because they're projecting onto you and you're buying into it. This is time to free yourself out of any old belief systems that are holding you back. So that's there for Monday, and everything else at the beginning is pretty much going on all week. And then Tuesday, you can see the moon has crossed over Pluto and Capricorn, and it's now newly into Aquarius, and it's inching towards Saturn. It's going to get more serious, but it's like serious freedom, right? Serious fun. Let's have some serious fun. You can see the Chiron quincunx, the South Node is still there. The Sun is making a quincunx to the North Node, so that's important. So this aspect here speaks to the adjustment that needs to be made if we want to create something new. Because we have to remember that. Actually, let's go. I need a yellow highlighter here. Oh, come on. There we go. Uranus conjunct the North Node. That's going on, no matter what. So when something connects with the North Node, it's also involving Uranus. Uranus is about freedom, liberation. It helps us wake up. It's the aha moments that come through. And when we have those aha moments, because the light's been shining, there's some spotlight that's been happening on relationships and balancing things in your life and making decisions to go in the direction that you want to go. That's on the table right up here, first thing in the morning. It won't last, it might last all, let's see. I bet you it won't be there for tomorrow. Yep, it is. Hold on. Oh, hey. You know what? Oh, wonderful. We have it all week. Yeah. We do, and it's going to intensify because it's going to involve Venus. Okay, so that changes quite a bit. So all week, we have all week long to open up to this. This is wonderful. Okay, so the sun, I have to bring in the yellow sunshiny color here, right? The sun is a spotlight, and it's shining the shining light on our path, on our future, to show us what what do we want. And Uranus is involved. It'll help bring in freedom, more freedom in your life. It can also bring in inventions. You might think of something that you want to. It might be a way to reinvent yourself. It might be a way to reinvent the way you relate to others. It might be an actual invention that creates safety, more safety. And you're thinking, ooh, I better get this patented, right? Because all these other aspects are still here. All of them, except for we've moved out of the so many of the semi-squares, but we still have, remember that arrow energy that I was talking about last week? That's still here. And that will continue because that is Saturn squaring Uranus here. But then, the point right here is Jupiter. And Jupiter is about expansion and abundance and what we believe in. So, what do you believe in? What new thing do you want to believe in so that you can bring it into your life? Or release something out of your life that's been holding you back. It can be both. It usually is both. All right? That's what one of the gifts that has to do with the Sun and Venus in Libra is seeing how, let's say you want to save more money so that you can spend it somewhere else, or save more money so that you can have it in your savings, just to feel safer. Well, one way you do it is by expanding to make more money, and another way you do it is by scaling down the money that you've been spending so that you can keep what you have, right? So you can work it from both ends. And when we have oppositions here, we do have the tension field, we do have the confrontation, but we also have the opportunity to break through. And that is, I think, the biggest reason for the nodes that are always moving through time and space. The nodes of the moon are always moving backwards through time and space to help us get in touch with that, to help us get in touch with the polarity of balancing. And from Taurus to Scorpio is all about money. It's money, safety, security, self-preservation, happiness, bliss, all the good stuff in life that's very tangible. And then Scorpio helps us to go deeper and sometimes dig our heels in, so that we can hold, because, we're talking fixed polarity here, and really stabilize something in our lives. And Taurus is often known as our personal money, and Scorpio is other people's money. So this can be your partners, a partnership, marriage, or just other people's resources. So let's see what else. You can see the square is still going on from Mars to Mercury and up to Neptune. So that's in effect. This Chiron, so this is all week. This Chiron was Chiron adjustment to the past. So Chiron, when I say the word Chiron, all you have to do is think trauma, pain, deepest wounding, and greatest gifts and healing. Just think that way. And then an adjustment. The quincunx is an adjustment, and the south node is always about the past. And Scorpio can transform. So we have this going on. We had it last week. I think it goes on the rest of this week as well, because Chiron just doesn't move. You can see, it's a 0 to 3 degree orb, and you can see that we have 14 degrees here and 13 here, but this one's going back and this one's going back. So they're this is for a while. This is good. This is a good quincunx to have, because it's all about healing. And so with Aries, just think in terms of what new thing do you want to start in your life? How can you courageously be brave enough to put yourself out there? What would be positive self-assertion to you? What would help you move forward in your uniqueness, right? What abandonment issues might you need to heal? How have you been abandoning yourself? If you've been impulsive, what's that about? Like what's the restlessness about? Usually it's because we're going outside of ourselves, and we're feeling like we don't have enough inside, so why go inside? Because there's just nothing there. Well, that's nothing but a big lie, right? Everything is inside of you. In fact, the whole universe is inside of you. So that's the adjustment there to make within your consciousness. And then the moon, you can see how we have, you've heard me talk about it a lot, a sextile and a trine. And we have 2 trines. So Pluto trining Mercury is very, very wonderful for This is going to be very powerful for writers, for getting the details, for making plans, for working, for honing your craft. Very powerful for that. And the moon crossing over Pluto and getting to the other side was probably very powerful for you. So Monday, Tuesday still. And now that Mercury's moved direct, you can see how Mercury's at 24 degrees, Pluto's at 26, Mercury's moving forward, right? So it's no longer going back. It still has to get to about 9 degrees Libra before it's out of the retro shade, if we're going to go with that. I'm still experimenting, but I'm not positive. But this might be one of those days where you're going to feel like, wait, what was Mercury retrograde? Because I'm doing great. You know, you might be powerfully moving forward, at least with your mind in the ability to make plans and schedule and get the details, track the patterns, connect the dots. You know, if it's no matter what it is, getting inside of what works for you. It could just be some investigations. With Pluto, it can be deep investigations. In the political sphere, I'm thinking something will come out. This could be a very, very good news dump day into something that was hidden, secret before. We have everything to do with a healthy psyche or not here with this connection, because trines don't, I mean, it's an open flow of energy, but it's not always positive, right? If you've been a dark, dirty politician, this could open it up and go, oh, looky here, right? And then especially with the moon, trine Mercury, yeah. And then with the moon being up at the apex, the focal point of this aspect of the architect here, so the moon is sextiling Jupiter. Here, I'll make sure you can see that there. So moon sextile Jupiter brings up an opening for healing, an opening to free up our belief system, an opening to move forward. And then with the moon in Aquarius, you're thinking much more freely and connecting with people. Aquarius is often all about friends, all about things that are original, things that, where you're just thinking differently than you ever have before, or you're feeling differently than you ever have before with the moon there. Because there's some new insights, and now you're thinking, ooh, what could I do with this information? Or I hadn't thought about that before. Now I think I'll go there. So the timing is right. Tuesday is a good day for timing. So Saturn trine Mars is still going on. Let's see. The sun, let's see, yeah, well, I'll go ahead and draw it in just so we make light of it. To remember that this is still here, the easy flow of energy of which you can literally manifest with, bring into form, master something. This could have to do with group consciousness, whomever the groups are that you're involved with. There could be some movement of information that helps. And then because Saturn is trine over here to the sun, right? And then Venus is trine up there to Pluto. Wait, is it? Let's see, 6? No. Venus is trine the moon. Ooh. That's even more. Wow. So relationships can move forward. Decisions can move forward. Because now you're more sure about which way to go. And Saturn trine Venus is... Sun trine Saturn is really good. So the sun here, trining up to Saturn. So the sun, again, is a spotlight of energy. The energy is infused with the sign of Libra. So, right, it's like decisions that have to do with fairness and equality, or anything that has to do with an art situation, art project, because Sun conjunct Venus is very, very attuned to all beautiful things, all beautiful creations. The only way you can mess something up like this with these great aspects is to get into people pleasing. Is to, if you can't sit in yourself, if you can't be very, very present with yourself and feel into, how do you feel? What do you think? What, like, and then do some research if you don't know. If somebody's it could be that somebody brings up, communicates something, and it triggers something inside where you kind of, maybe your bullshit meter goes off, or maybe they're telling you the truth and you just had not thought of it before. There's that possibility. So you're going to have to sit with it for a while. The only way you could mess it up would be to impulsively do what they want you to do just because they want you to do it and you want them to like you. Okay? So be careful with that, because that's one of the problems with Libra. And then with Venus conjuncting Libra, we just have to be careful for, people pleasing. Because we want to stay connected, right? That's Libra's all about. Well, I'm a Cancer, but we all have a real need for connection. That's a human thing. That is a very, very human thing. We all have a real need for connection, a real need to love, a real need to give ourselves, a real need to be seen and heard and understood. But we have to have all that met within us personally before we can really have it in the outer world, right? You have to receive yourself. You have to understand yourself. You have to know yourself, right? You can't abandon yourself. So, yeah, you have to connect with yourself, basically. Okay, let's see what Wednesday brings, because Tuesday looks great. Ooh, well, the trines are still there. Pluto trine. Let me see if I can do this without spending all the time with the markers, but Venus trine Mercury. Mercury trine Pluto is still there. Venus conjunct the Sun is still in effect, and it will stay. That'll be going on all week. But then the trine, there's a double trine up to the the Moon and Saturn conjunct. So, like I was saying before about serious fun, it feels more like serious connections that could bring in balance. Bring in balance and fairness, right? See these points here, the two trines. Loving, connected relationships that want to grow, because remember the polarity of Taurus and Scorpio is all about growing that creates something better in the future, right? So relationships that aren't attuned to personal growth, they're not going to last. Those types of relationships are just there to help you heal your trauma or to help you heal your childhood issues, right? We always marry our parents until we heal the issue. Or if you feel the issue before you get married, then you don't. Those are the ones you stay with. Now, if a couple is committed to their personal growth and healing their own issues, then they stop projecting them on each other. Then those are the deepest relationships as well. Those are the marriages that last. And whether it's a legal marriage or a partnership or even a business partnership, it's all the same. Everything is all of our relationship with life will stem from our childhood wounding until we've healed it. So anyway, that being said, the energy is there for us to know that and get more seriously involved with freeing ourselves from the past, okay? And the information, the motivation to communicate with people in our relationships, or people that we relate to on a daily basis, people who are important relationships is what I meant to say. Or I'm trying to say. And that's the tension field there, right? Do you have a spiritual connection with this person? Or are they just projecting their past and their wounding, their trauma onto you? And can you guys talk? Are you able to talk? Or are you dealing with an addict and they're not able to connect with you because they're not really able to connect with themselves yet in a way that, there's something that needs to be healed before they can truly relate? Or maybe they're in rehab and you guys are talking about things a lot. Or maybe you're in rehab and you're talking a lot about the past and how to heal, or to know what to heal. You have to go to the past to figure all that out. And then figure where the false beliefs came from in the first place, process the emotions through so that you're not coming from emotional reaction. And then from there, your feelings become free and they flow. They flow and they change, and you're okay with being in your feelings because you know that they're going to change in 5 seconds from now. So why worry about it? Feelings can sometimes just be inconvenient, and that's all. But when we're coming from emotional reaction, we're stuck. We're stuck in the past. We're projecting the past onto the present, and then that's messing up the future, and you know how that goes. So, okay, but let's see what else for Wednesday. So we're still in the Mercury trine Pluto, of course, and so the Mercury trine Pluto, and that will last, I think, probably through the end of the week. Because of the effects, things get activated a day or two before, and then so the Mercury, the messenger that is activating something deep in your soul that has to do with your inner integrity and your own inner authority, and then it becomes exact. Mercury has to get to 26 degrees 7 minutes to be exact, but then there's the waning, so you're still going to feel it. We'll be feeling it all week. But this is such a good aspect for getting really clear, questioning. Here we have, these aspects here for questioning our motivations. Why do we want what we want? If we had it, would we really be happy? Sometimes we think, just, all the money in the world or millions and millions or hundreds of, I don't know. Sometimes we think that is what we really need. But really what we're wanting is safety. And maybe we don't need a lot of money to have safety. Now, it does give you options and creates freedom. But when it comes to feeling loved and happy and all of that, that doesn't require money at all. It doesn't. It often leads to creating money with other people, but it doesn't make for being loved. Yeah. So anyway, so Mercury trining Pluto, and so the Mercury in Virgo. I feel like I need to go deeper into the Mercury in Virgo as it makes its way, through the last 4 degrees of the sign before it moves into Libra. We can become more useful, more resourceful. We can create more divine order. I'm using Virgo keywords here. Divine order in our lives that has some powerful Pluto, lasting Capricorn to find ways that to be more useful in your service and your work that can create some powerful, lasting changes in your life. The opportunity's here all week. And then also with Virgo has everything to do with ecological sciences, everything to do with health and healing. And with the trine to Pluto, I would think that people would be less worried about, chaos. I mean, I don't really know if I believe in chaos. I feel like chaos is just an opportunity to get something into order, and it's just that something hasn't been brought into order yet. Of course, then, a big storm comes in and it's chaotic, but, again, myself, the way my brain works is I go way back into the past and try and figure out the cause. Like, what's the cause going on here? Because that's the only way. We don't create lasting change by constantly addressing the symptom. So anyway, so we can see that we still have the moon conjunct Saturn in the, hold on, what is it? Yeah. Okay. Thought I missed something there. I was just double checking. The moon conjunct Saturn, it's going to be even more, we're going to be manifesting more ways to connect with friends. We could be having, like I was saying before, some serious fun with this, because we're talking air trines here. Serious communications that can actually be really fun. Or maybe you guys are into playing games and this is like a really good day for that. Maybe this is a day for having some really fun games with kids or teenagers or friends. Because friends, the sign of Gemini and Aquarius and Libra, that air trine does relate to friends, communications with friends. Let's see, what else? You can see the moon is square the north node, and okay, so remember how I've been talking about, the Saturn. Just pretend I only looked at Saturn there. To the north node in Uranus, this T-square that I've been talking about for months on end. You guys are probably sick of hearing about it. And Uranus squaring the south node, trying to break free from the past. Well, now the moon in Aquarius is activating that, because the moon will illuminate. The moon will help us connect. The moon and the sun both, they bring to light something. But the moon's more connected to our feelings, more connected to even like our tummies and digesting things. So this could even be a great day for cooking with friends, recipe gathering with friends here, because we do have this square down here. This would be useful energy. I don't always look at squares as being bad. Yeah, it's a tension field. Yeah, it can be challenging. But there are connections, and connections are good because it's how we get things done. So, yeah, so Neptune squaring Mars. Again, I kind of feel like it could be a news dump day with government officials or their lack of integrity, because that's the backdrop of Pluto and Capricorn that's been going on since 2008. Just think of when Pluto first moved into Capricorn and we had the financial, meltdown that was completely caused by banks and the stock market. Completely. Banks giving loans, the whole, oh my goodness, it's like, what was that movie? The Big Short? Yeah, The Big Short. I think I had to watch that movie 3 times before I got all the details, because it was just so rich with information. But if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. You see exactly how that Great Recession was created. And so when Pluto first gets into a sign, it brings up the things that are that have been hidden, the secrets, right? And by the time it gets to the end of the sign, we still have, a little ways to go to get to 29 degrees, to get to, 0 degrees Aquarius. And then it's going to go back and forth. It won't be until 2024 before it's fully into Aquarius to stay. And I don't know that Aquarius is going to be, well, we'll see. But so powerful transformation as to people who have been in control. We have seen. So we've watched everybody. I mean, we've watched Donald Trump say, "I'm going to drain the swamp." Well, no, he was the biggest swamp creature that brought in all the other swamp creatures, and we watched how many people went in and came in and left, and which ones are locked up and which ones are gonna be locked up. All of that is still yet to be seen. But now you can see what has happened since 2008 to 2022. What will happen until 2024, right? In that window of time. Great time to be alive, right? I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's been healing for me to watch these dirtbags get caught, actually. Yeah, I mean, and we're still fighting. We're fighting against fascism. We're fighting against the autocrats, the dictators. That's exactly what's happening here. And that may be what is in the spotlight for this day. Again, I think all week long, news dumps. Maybe we'll finally have the January 6th hearing. There's that possibility, especially with, well, this would be all month, but especially with the Sun conjunct Venus in Libra, because Libra rules justice. But notice how we have that trine, to Saturn, the Sun and Saturn, and the Moon. I mean, this is pretty powerful right here. And then down to Mars in Gemini with the information, the motivation to keep going deeper back into the past, to bring out all the information, and and then that square, the T-square here, so that we can help heal and move forward. Jupiter definitely wants justice as well. Jupiter has everything to do with our belief systems and, basically that old adage. Was it Gandhi that said love and truth will always prevail? I always think of that when I see the planet Jupiter. Jupiter wants to get to the truth. And we certainly have the luminary connections here to shine the light wherever we need to look deeper. So let's see. But yeah, for us personally, I think it's a great day for hanging out with friends, a great day for communication, a great day for organizing something that can run very smoothly in the future. You know what? This is important. Now, the moon, see how the moon's at 15 degrees Aquarius, and it's trining Mars at 21. Well, as the moon moves closer and even crosses over, we'll have an exact trine. So this is coming up. So that we have approaching energy, we might feel it more strongly. So moon trine Mars is a nice flow of, like I was saying, communication, gathering the facts, connecting the dots, learning, questioning things, and then connecting the dots and being free, so creating something very original as well. Yeah, and inclusive, right? Because Aquarius, unless it's in, working from the dark side, it's very inclusive. Not as inclusive as Pisces, but almost. Okay, so Thursday, the moon is in Pisces, and it has crossed over Saturn, and so now there's only two aspects to the moon this morning. You can see we have the sesquisquare here to the sun, but the sun's conjunct Venus, so I'm going to kind of pull it in together, even though this is a really tight orb. But the moon's moving quickly, the sun's moving quickly. So this could be an adjustment. Well, it's more of actually being careful about being, because we have the adjustments going on here already. This feels to me like it's more about being careful about being stubborn. Who might win in a situation like this, you might ask? Oh, it's hard to tell, because Libra wants to please, and Pisces, well, worst case scenario, the moon in Pisces will just check out. Yeah, whatever, dude. You can walk away. You win, but they don't really, It can be that, especially with Saturn trying Mars, or yeah, Saturn to Mars. Yeah. So you can see there's a little semi-square here with the moon semi-square Chiron. Now this is where some action is going to need to be taken. And we still have that arrow configuration going on to Jupiter and Uranus. So to be free, we have to heal our belief system, and then we can create something solid from there. But with this little semi-square here from the moon to Chiron, this could be breaking free of some old, stodgy, rigid, energy, and moving into something brand new. But that's the action that would need to be taken. So if you're feeling held back by someone if you've been in a relationship where someone is consistently stubborn because they want to win, or they're not telling you the truth about how they feel because either they don't know how they feel or they're afraid of upsetting the apple cart or rocking the boat or whatever you want to say, then you're in a little bit of a manipulative trap going on. And you're going to have to trust your intuition. So with Pisces, you're going to have to devote yourself to trusting your feelings while you're, now Pisces is all about empathy, but it's all about, being an empath as well, right? You have to have empathy to be an empath. So you could, now something could come through in dream time. What's different here? We don't have, now this is weird. I guess we're just a little bit out of orb with that sextile that we were having. Let me see, was it there on Sunday then? Yeah, no, it's been gone. I guess it moved out. I think it was there last week. We're having Pluto sextile Neptune, remember? That has moved out of orb now. But it's waning, and it's still kind of there in the backdrop, I feel. So that spiritual connection, spiritual healing that can happen by our dream time information that comes through. So it could be something about relationship. It could also be downloads of things that help you create some new art. And I have, like I always say, I have no judgment, or my brain doesn't even work that way to think about like what's art and what isn't, because I feel like you just walking through your life is every step of the way is a work of art. You know what I mean? Moving through life can be art. So with the moon in this little semi-square here to Chiron, I think that we could have some dreamtime guidance to help us figure out which direction to go. So make sure, like I always say, keep a dream journal next to your bed, and it doesn't have to be a big old full-on dream with tons of, big things. It can just be one little snippet, one little piece of information. And what I like to do is put myself in the position of all the people in my dream, so that I can take a viewpoint from each, like a vantage point from each person as maybe a part of myself, and see like, what's the message? because the messages definitely are boundless coming in this way. Mercury opposing Neptune. So when you think of Neptune, think dream time and source energy, compassion, visualization, something that can help you if you need to dissolve something, an old false beliefs. Neptune can help you do that. Neptune can be confusing, though. So if you're trying to grab a hold of something concrete, it could be challenging, but with this, especially with the square to Mars, but with this opposition, if you set the intention, because remember, by spiritual law, energy will wrap itself around our intentions. Our intentions are, and our follow through and our actions with those intentions. That's the divine masculine within us. That's the consciousness. And then we have the divine feminine within us that receives our intentions, and the two balance together to work. That's the challenge on Earth, because on Earth things are dualistic, but in our spiritual essence, everything is one, and that's the lesson with Neptune moving through Pisces. So if we can get that, if we can grok that in our brains, we could make the best use of this Mercury opposition to Neptune. And you can see it's, Mercury's going to move, it's trucking on, right? And Neptune's going to sit there for quite some time, and it's going retrograde anyway. So this is a great opportunity. Get in touch with your spiritual mojo to help you figure out what it is that you want. Open up to all those spiritual messages, because Mercury's the messenger. And trust yourself. Trust what comes through. And especially with this backdrop, like I was saying before, from Jupiter, that's wanting to help you heal and manifest and move forward in a whole new way. From Jupiter to Saturn to Uranus. This is an active force going on. But you're going to have to, this requires, if you want the healing, you will have to act. This isn't something you can just sit around and think about. You're going to have to act. You want to write that book, you got to sit and write in the morning, or find your best time for writing for you. You can't just wait for the download to come. You need to sit and practice and write. Or talk into a voice recorder. You can do it that way. And it can get translated later. If you don't know how to type, you don't have to worry about writing a book. You can still do it. And also, when it comes to writing, some people get their information in dream time. Sometimes those downloads can come through in dream time. Where that is an actual download, but then you still have to wake up and retrieve that information and talk about it and develop it, right, in your mind and with whatever device you're using to write whatever you're writing. Yeah, so books, screenplays, scripts. Whatever you're doing. It's also really good energy for editors and transcribers. Let's see. I think that's it, though, for the day. The moon, right there. We don't have any other aspects, really. But I love the moon in Pisces. Okay, so, and of course, it's still in Pisces. 14 degrees, it's moving close to Neptune, so the energy's building. It's been building to that very dreamy, visualizing type of energy that can create boundless works of art. And you can see we've been having, like I was saying before, the quincunx between Chiron and the South Node, and the Sun to the North Node. So again, just to repeat there, healing the past. The opportunity is to heal the past. and create something brand new. Okay? And that's, of course, another hallmark with the nodes with Uranus conjunct the North Node. But the way to free yourself up so that you are free in the future, presently and in the future, is to heal the past. And that brings in forgiveness. And I especially want to speak to that because of so Scorpio, when it's healthy, deeply forgives. Just lets go. And then trining the moon in Pisces, it's like, oh, well, there's nothing to forgive because you've just been a player in my screenplay here in my life, and I learned from it. So I'm actually grateful for that pain that you gave me. I healed from it, right? And because there's the double sextile to the North Node in Uranus, the moon is at that fulcrum point, that bucket handle point to create something brand new. So opportunities abound with that. So forgiveness is necessary. If you can't forgive yet, the intention to forgive is a process. I mean, you make the intention you want to forgive, and then it's a process, and you go through it. And sometimes it's about forgiving yourself. And for me, I've learned that I can't forgive myself until I know I won't do it anymore. But then once you have, and you know you would never do that, then there's no reason to hold on to any incrimination on yourself, And then other times, all these opportunities are just, these painful opportunities, or painful betrayals that happened are just opportunities to forgive. And they are a mirror to where we betrayed the best in ourselves in the past, and we're no longer doing that. Right? So if your generosity turned into enabling, you learned, you worked your way out of that, trap, and you're not doing that anymore. So I see the opportunity for freedom and creating much, 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 much more of what you want in your life. And then we do have the sesquisquare here to Mercury. So there might be some mental holding on that you're going to have to work with in order to be free. Right? You could have some dreamtime guidance that can help you immensely, but you're still going to have to tell your brain to just shut off, and you want to go with the forgiveness, right? Unless you don't want to. Yeah, I mean, it's always up to us, right? we can't. None of us can make each other do anything. But forgiveness is actually for you. It doesn't, the other person, if they've forgiven themselves and they'll never do it again, they're already free. But if you won't forgive them, you're the one that's stuck. But again, it's a process, so don't beat yourself up in the process. Just go through it. So you can see that we have, besides the inconjuncts, quincunxes, they are also here, or there's another one here to the sun because of that tide orb there, 14 to 14. So between the sun and the moon, that adjustment is just nothing less than your divine feminine and your divine masculine coming together and knowing that you are one inside. There is no separation. In the spirit world, there's no such thing as, that separation at all. It's just here on Earth it seems dualistic. So it could be a little bit of an adjustment to think more logically, because you have all this creativity coming through, all of the visualization, all of the just untapped or pure, what's the word that I always feel like with Pisces? It's like a pure potentiality. Like the ability to have just boundless creativity and beauty and it's like you go down to the beach or you go out on a boat and you're on the ocean or maybe it's a lake for you, or maybe it's your hot tub, or maybe it's a shower, or whatever. Being in that water and you're just like, oh, and you really let go, right? Well, it feels like there's an opening that is just there's no boundary around how good it could be. But then the mind comes in and goes, oh, wait, I'm wet. At least, or if you're me in the shower, oh, wait, I can't waste too much water. I can't stay in here too long. And then it's like reality hits. And it's like, yeah. A hot tub would be nice, though. So, but anyhow, that's just me and my own. You may have a pool and a hot tub, and you may be by the ocean, and so do not let me hold you back at all, is basically what all this is about. So don't let anybody hold you back, especially a relationship, just because somebody else doesn't have the vision that you have or the experience that you have. Go for the bliss. Stay in your compassion and your sensitivity. Oh my goodness, Pisces is so sensitive. Stay devoted to your vision. And whatever you can do in the forgiveness department will help. It will help everyone involved, but mostly yourself. And the other cool thing is the Grand Air Trine is back. So here we go. Saturn, trine Mars, and then up to the Sun, and the Sun trining Saturn. So all of this, and let's include, it's not exact, but let's include Venus, because Venus rules Libra. And with the so the Sun and Venus brings in the quality it brings like the feminine and the masculine together in a greater way than ever before. And then with the trine over to Saturn, it's like, oh, well, what can we manifest together? Or what can we solidify? What solid ways can we bring our energies together? And there's a nice flow of energy there. Now, it will also bring up whatever has been unhealed within, or the things that have been healed. There will be a breakthrough because of all that commitment to doing your healing work in the past. Because remember, Chiron is about healing the trauma and the deepest conflicts inside. Basically all the tapes around like, I don't matter, I'm not good enough, I'll never be enough, or I always have to do this to get that type of thing, rather than just coming back to yourself and being more than enough for yourself, and you matter to yourself, you belong to yourself, and from there everything, rewrites. You rewrite your own history, and then you have a whole new relationship, Libra, relationship with yourself. And then that is the mirror that goes out into the universe. That's the breakthrough with that confrontation there. And then the moon, the moon's not square. It will when it gets to Neptune, but we'll look at that. Let's look at that for tomorrow. But let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Mercury's still trining Pluto. We did talk about that. We still have the T-square here. There's the T-square there, whether it's showing up or not. With this, with Saturn to the nodes and Uranus. But yeah, that looks good. Okay, so for Saturday, Pluto stationing direct. I didn't bother to grab actually I did. I did get to the time. Okay, I was going to say I didn't bother because it's such a slow thing. But anyhow, so Saturday, October 8th, 2:56 p.m. Pacific time. Pluto stations direct. You can see it's 26 degrees. Capricorn. It's still trining Mercury. It's at 27. Now they'll both, but you know, it moves so darn slow is the thing. There aren't any other aspects for now it's just this one to Mercury. So again, you know, a deep contact with the soul, between the mind and the soul. The mind, well, there's no such thing as separation between the mind, body, and soul. But I want to look and see with the moon, because the moon's in Aries, because we jumped, right, from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So notice how we were with the moon here. It passed over. I should have ran another chart for when the moon conjuncted Neptune, but you can imagine. So what I'll do is look at the aspects between Neptune and Mars. So it's that Neptune square Mars, and know that the moon conjuncted there, right? So Neptune square Mars, of course, is the getting clear on people with their secret movements, secret communications, with the trine, with Mars up here trining the sun. Again, something's going to come out, you know, between Pluto stationing direct and the sun in Libra, trining Mars in Gemini, and we still have the grand air trine here. We're talking justice, we're talking information, we're talking lies, right? And lies that have motivated people to make money, you know, clickbait kind of bullshit, all of that. There's a lot that's come out, and more will be. I mean, there was that Twitter whistleblower that happened a couple weeks ago. Basically, Twitter just takes your information, and same thing with TikTok. Do some research on that. TikTok is from China. And you have that app on your phone, they can get into your phone. They can get into everything on your phone. So, yeah, so check it out, because that information's out there, right? So by 3 p.m., when Pluto, because the moon and Pluto, you know, they kind of function the same way a little bit. It's just one's more on the surface and Pluto's down really deep. But the moon moving across Neptune is going to illuminate, and we are moving towards the full moon. The full moon, hold on. The full moon's on Sunday. Yeah, here it is. The full moon will be Sunday, so this is Saturday, 1:55 p.m. Pacific. And it's going to be, I'll do a whole different reading just on this, but look how it's conjunct. The moon is going to move across Chiron and be opposing the sun and Venus. So that's going to make for some interesting relationship dynamics. The trine will still be there. But anyway, so we're building up to the full moon. All week we've been building up to the full moon that'll happen on Sunday. And so the moon has, just think of the moon here. Remember, the moon was up here, right? We got in touch with our deeper issues, our power issues. And then the moon moved across Pluto and conjuncted Saturn and made all those other aspects to help us free up where we were out of our power and out of our integrity. And so we're manifesting a greater sense of ourselves with, you know, had the moon crossed over Saturn, we went through that, you know, yeah, serious fun, but also some serious work. And then with the moon in Pisces, we might have kind of just been floating around trying to figure out, like, oh man, what, you know, what, but getting more in touch with dream time and spiritual guidance. And then with the moon crossing over Neptune, again, like maybe getting in touch with all the things that you needed to in order to have some spiritual healing, but also to get out of any confusion and delusion and ways where you were maybe wasting energy. And all of this speaks to this like war mentality that's going on in between Russia and Ukraine, where Russians are trying to get out of Russia, and they're being drafted into the military there, but then they're wanting to get to Ukraine and just get away from this whole Russian military regime because they don't want to fight against their brothers. So that's part of this whole political backdrop here too. But for us personally, to hold space for the justice that is always there, the fairness, the equality that's always there, and then with the moon crossing over Jupiter and in Aries, and it's sandwiched in between Jupiter and Chiron, this makes for some very, very powerful healing. The Aries moon can bring in that feeling of just blazing your own trail, and you know which direction to go, and you know who your relationships are that you can trust, and you know who the relationships are that you want to go with you or be with, right? Either you go with them or they go with you, or you go together, right? The togetherness that is expansive and healing, because you've been doing your own soul work. You've done deep, deep healing work for years and years. And now finally, all of this can come through for you in a brand new way. And for those who haven't been working spiritually and all they've been trying to do is control and manipulate and hurt other people, it's not going to go well for them. And we will be witnessing that. So the Pluto direct is not making any other aspects. It's just simply between Mercury and Pluto. So it's really just an easier flow of letting go of the mind that wants to control everything, and letting the deeper recesses of your soul, based on all the work that you've done to be in your integrity, let that lead you. Let that just instinctually lead you in the right, and you stand in that, because that's the truth of who you are. It's all about your integrity. We're all gonna friggin' die someday, so we may as well be going down with what we want to hold on to the most, which is our integrity, which is love. We don't take anything else with us when we go. We don't take our false beliefs. We take our love. It's like in that movie Ghost, remember? So anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. No, I think we're good. And I'll be back the Thursday before the Sunday full moon. So we'll get that. But this is the buildup, right? So okay, I'm gonna get this uploaded for you guys and send you lots of love. Okay, take good care. Bye.